ladies, in this video I'm going to show you how I got this full face holiday makeup look, gold eyes and red lips. So if you'd like to see how I got this look, please keep watching. Alright, so starting with my Laura Mercier foundation primer, I'm going to apply this to my entire face. Now I will be using my Revlon Photoready foundation and my Real Techniques Expert Face Brush. So when I apply my foundation with this brush, I do more shorter strokes rather than longer strokes because I find that it blends out and buffs the foundation better into my skin. So that's the way that I apply that foundation with this brush. Now to brighten underneath my eyes, I'll be using the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Concealer, and this is their Brightener. So this is a more pink tone concealer, and that's how I brighten those really dark bags underneath my eyes. So that's what I use for my brightener, and then to blend that out, I'll be using my Sigma Precision Round P82 brush. I really love this brush because it's almost like a fingertip, and it really buffs in my concealer, makes it look flawless, so that's the brush that I use for that. And now just to take off some excess concealer, I'm just patting underneath my eye using my ring finger. Now on top of that brightening concealer, I'll be using my MAC Pro Longwear Concealer, and the color that I use is NC20. So to apply that, I'm just patting on the concealer underneath my eyes, and then after I'll also blend out with the brush. But with a little bit of excess concealer, I do swipe it down my nose, underneath my nose, and a little bit on my forehead just to cover any areas of redness. And then I take that brush and I just blend out the edges of that concealer. If you guys haven't seen my concealer video, I'll make sure to link that down below so that you guys can watch that. And then I'll be taking my finger afterward and then just patting off the excess concealer. Now to set the concealer, I'll be using my Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder with my Real Techniques Setting Powder Brush. And to do that, I'm just using the top of that and gently patting on some of the setting powder. You don't want to sweep away any of the concealer, so make sure you use a patting motion to set your concealer. Now to contour my face, I'm using my L'Oreal True Match Super Blendable Powder in the color Nut Brown, and then with my Sigma Small Contour F05 brush. And I'm just using the very side of this brush, and I'm hollowing out my cheekbones using that. And then to blend it out, I'm going to use the top of the brush. It's kind of flat and dome-shaped actually, so it's a really good buffer brush. A little tip on contouring your cheekbones is to pretend that there's a line going from the top of your ear down to the corner of your mouth, and to just contour about halfway down that pretend line. Now here I'm just taking my foundation brush and buffing out that contour. Now as my blush, I'm using my Pixi Beauty Bronzer. It's actually kind of pinkish, and I've been loving it lately. And then to apply that, I'm using my Real Techniques Blush Brush, and just applying that to the apples of my cheeks, not doing it too harshly or too dramatic. Yeah, so here I put my hair up because it was probably getting annoying being in my face so much. But anyway, now I'm going to use my MAC Mineralize Skin Finish Natural in the color Light, and applying that using my Kabuki brush that I got from Icing. And to apply this, I'm just using a patting motion, not really sweeping it too much because I want my foundation to last longer. Alright, now to prime my eyes, I'm going to be using my Sigma eyeshadow base in the color Persuade. So to apply this, I'm just going to be using my finger, nothing special. I really love this eyeshadow base because it's really creamy and it doesn't dry out too fast, so I really love this stuff. Alright, so the first thing that I'm going to do with my eyeshadow is take my MAC eyeshadow in the color Soba with my Sigma Blending E25 brush, and I'm going to blend that into my crease. So when I do blend this into my crease, I do a back and forth sweeping motion. That gives me the best results whenever I'm trying to blend a color into my crease. Now I'll be taking my Naked Basics palette and the color WOS, and with this I'll be using my Sigma Tapered Blending E40 brush. This is a really fluffy blending brush, so whenever I blend out any color that I've applied to my crease, it really makes it look diffused and more natural. Now as a quick touch-up, I'll be using that same eyeshadow base in the color Persuade with my Sigma Concealer F70 brush, and I'm just applying that to the eyelids so that the eyeshadow sticks better on my eye. So now I'll be using the Naked 2 palette and the color Half Baked in this palette. So to apply the Half Baked eyeshadow, I'm using my Sigma Eye Shading E55 brush. And with this gold, I want it to really get packed onto my eyelid to make it look really gold. So I'm just using a patting motion, and then I'm going to sweep it back and forth to make sure that it's covering my entire eyelid. Again, using the Naked 2 palette, I'm going to be using Snakebite eyeshadow with my Sigma Blending E25 brush, and I'm just applying this to the outer crease to give my eyes some more depth. Now using the Naked Basics palette with the actual brush that came in the Naked 2 palette, I'm using the flat side, and I'm just going to be applying that Venus eyeshadow underneath my eyebrow for a highlight. Once I have applied this Venus eyeshadow underneath my eyebrow all the way, I'm taking a clean blending brush and blending it out. Alright, so now for eyeliner, I'm using my L'Oreal Infallible Gel Lacquer liner with my Sigma Eyeliner EO5 brush. And to start off with my eyeliner, I'm going to first line my upper lash line. I spit it up really fast so that it doesn't take me forever when I'm doing this. So first I'm lining my upper lash line, and then I'm going to extend it out to create my wing. And here I'm just repeating the same process. And since I will be adding a point to the inner corners of my eyes with the eyeliner, I'm first applying Venus from the Naked Basics palette into my tear duct. And here, like I said, I'm adding a point to the inner corners of my eyes using the very tip of my eyeliner brush. Now using that same gel eyeliner, I'm applying this to my waterline just because it lasts so much longer than regular pencil. Now using that same MAC eyeshadow that I used in my crease, which is Soba, I'm taking a random small shader brush that I have and applying that underneath my lash line. Next, I'll be applying my Red Cherry number 43 false eyelashes, but before I do that, I'm going to curl my eyelashes and apply a little bit of mascara. So the mascara that I'm using is going to be the L'Oreal Telescopic Carbon Black Mascara. I absolutely love this mascara. It works so good for my eyelashes and makes them look so much longer. So if you guys can, definitely get that. Now I'm applying my false eyelashes. I do have a video on how to apply false eyelashes, so if you guys want me to, actually I'm just going to do it anyway. I will link that down below so that you guys can see that as well. And now I'm just going to go ahead and finish up my mascara on my bottom lashes. Here's the finished look on the eyes. And now it's time to apply my lipstick, but first I'm going to go ahead and apply my Vannila EOS Lip Balm to my lips. So since I am doing red lips, I will be lining my lips, and to line them I'm using my NYX lip pencil in Hot Red. Now for my lipstick, I'm going to be using my OCC Lip Tar in NSFW, and to apply this, I'm just using a BH Cosmetics brush. Not really sure which one it is because it came in a set, but these lip tars also do come with a brush. I just prefer to use this one. And that's it for the final look. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Happy holidays. Bye!